Oh, here it goes. Last play, inbound. Oh, boy. Oh, man. I just watched the last seconds of that game. The New York Liberty get the win over the Chicago Sky, snap a 7-game losing streak, first win since August 7th. Wow, what a game. What a game. It's just wild. The Liberty needed a win. They got a win. And this is the game that I thought I was going to see when Chicago and the New York Liberty played the first time. I said it on Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm expecting a good game offensively. I thought that a matchup between the Chicago Sky and the New York Liberty could have a really nice pace. We saw a really nice pace to this game. And it didn't come to fruition, but it did tonight. 101 points by the New York Liberty. They defeat the Chicago Sky 101-99. My goodness. My goodness. We're going to allow people to come in. I said I was going live immediately after the game, and here I am. Here I am. I am live after the New York Liberty defeat the Chicago Sky 101-99 on free throws. It was tied up at 99, and Layshia Clarendon gets fouled by Stephanie Dolson. 0.3 seconds left in the game. Clarendon makes both. On the broadcast I was listening to through the Yes Network, they were talking about maybe Layshia should have tried missing the second one, 0.3 seconds. I mean, and then Chicago would have had to fire from full court, essentially, to even attempt to get the win. But Layshia makes both free throws, gets her team a very big win. A few things I wanted to talk about in this game, or about this game. And if you're in the chat, let me know. Welcome. Let me know where you're watching from. Who are you rooting for? Is this what we've been waiting for? Is this what we've been waiting for from this New York Liberty team? I've been very critical of the New York Liberty, and I stand by that. I stand by that 100%. But we saw a more balanced game. And just so you guys know, I have the post game with Coach Up. It usually takes him about 10 solid minutes to come on camera. But if you hear some noise, that is probably post game media availability. We'll see how long we stay on here. But this was a more balanced game from the New York Liberty. We saw a massive game from Amanda Zowie B. She finished with 22 points. After that, Layshia Clarendon with 17. 14 points from Jocelyn Willoughby. 14 points and 17 minutes. Over 17 minutes. Paris Key, 17 minutes and double digits, 10 points in the game. Kia Nurse, only 5 points. Leah Odom, 2 points. Kia Stokes, though, gave a solid 14 points. A little bit of balance. So a quiet Kia Nurse. Nate Odom not really getting it done offensively right now, but a much more balanced game. But I want to go to Amanda Zowie B. She was 4 for 7 from the arc, and 9 of 14 field goals overall. Layshia Clarendon, again, shooting 66%. Kylie Shook had 8 points, 51% field goal percentage. This was a much more balanced, a much more exciting type of New York basketball. Was it that they were more settled in? Was it that the shots were falling? Was it that they were more comfortable? I've talked a lot that I want to see some swag. I want to see some swag from this New York Liberty team. Maybe we got some. Maybe we got some tonight. And I asked Walt Hopkins in the pregame. Let me tell you what I wanted to ask. What I wanted to ask is like, yo, Walt, let me talk to you real quick. So check it. And those who've listened to Locked On Women's Basketball, this will sound familiar because I talked about this on the show that aired earlier today. I wanted to be like, yo, Walt, this is what Marianne Stanley did. She talked hella smack about the other team and how Indiana was disrespected by Seattle in her post game. She held her players down. And Nikki Collin for Atlanta Dream lit into her team at halftime and said, if you don't rebound, if you don't box out, if you're not picking up your defender on the screen, you're not a professional, period, point blank. I wanted to be like, if those two things happened, Walt, what are you going to do? What's your version of that? What is the version of that for your team? How are you going to either get fired up or get your team fired up? You know, that's what I really wanted to know. I wanted to know, what is it going to take to get this New York team to believe in themselves? Everyone has a short season. It's not just the New York Liberty. The New York Liberty is not even the youngest team in the Wubble. That belongs to Dallas. Indiana, or I should say, the New York Liberty is not the only team coming into the season and coming into a very difficult season with an abysmal record from the year before. Indiana had a terrible record. Atlanta did not play well last season. But both of those teams have found a way to get fired up and get some wins under their belt. And there comes a time where, whether you want to call it gamesmanship, sports psychology, or just good old-fashioned putting a boot to someone's rear, you got to get your team fired up. And saying, you know, I thought we had good energy. I completely disagreed with Walt's assessment of the last time he played Chicago. He felt that it was one of the better games that his team played. He felt that it was one of the better games as far as energy. I didn't see that. It's to the point where I almost need to watch that game again. Let me know in the comments. Did you think that New York played particularly well last time they played Chicago? Because I did not. And I listened to him post game. I listened to him throughout the week. I listened to him even today. And I'm like, what? What am I missing? What am I missing? Because I did not think that was a good game. Hey, Damien. Hey, goddamn. So, like, I didn't see it. And so I was like, you know what? I think this, on paper, in theory, this should be a good matchup for the New York Liberty. But I wasn't excited because I just felt like I was seeing a completely different team. Now, granted, I'm not in the Wubble. So, and I'm also not a professional coach. So it's quite possible that I was seeing things the wrong way. But I wanted to know from Walt, what are you going to do to fire up your team? I didn't ask it that way. What I did ask is, what is that version of getting fired up? How do you facilitate that? Who are the players that can facilitate that kind of energy? And Walt did not really give any players specifically. He thought it was a good question. He talked about balancing that energy, that excitement, that passion, and execution. And I get that completely. In case you can't tell, I like to be fired up. I like to be fired up. I don't like to be tame and conservative. Like, if I'm angry, you're gonna know. If I'm excited, you're gonna know. I think fear is probably the emotion that I'm able to control the most. But there's sometimes, and when you're an athlete, you play, and there's just this fire inside of you, and sometimes you have to let that out. Candace Parker took a routine charge and starts flailing around to the point where you saw Elizabeth Williams was like, oh, okay. Sometimes you gotta let that out. You put so much into your craft, and when you do something in that moment for Candace Parker, it was drawing a charge. She doesn't do that very often, but she did it in that moment. She's going to celebrate that moment. And we've not seen that from the New York Liberty. We've seen Jazz Jones get frustrated. And I'm okay with that too. Everyone loves Diana Taurasi. When DT does it, we're all, laughing and LOLing, I'll meet you in the lobby type stuff. Anyone else does it and, it's kind of a problem. But you gotta sometimes, as a coach, you have to know when to create that energy and that fire in the belly. And you also have to know when to just let it go. Sometimes you got to let it go. I think this traditionally people liken this to men's sports, which I'm not really going to get into sexism tonight, but just no asterisk on the next comment I am about to give. In men's sports, I think it's commonplace, and we see it in movies, and you see sometimes now on social media where coaches will let players, if they get into a disagreement in practice, they'll let them go. No, let them go, let them go, let them go. Sometimes you gotta let that energy out. And I just hadn't seen that from New York, but this game was pretty close. This game was pretty close. Damian, they won. However, this year has been a big disappointment. However, they have to build from the ground up for next year, but how will they do it? You know what? I love that. I love that question. I love that statement because I 100% agree. I, in a group chat and in a text message today, said, this is not a very good team. This is not a very good team. They weren't a good roster pre-COVID. They're not a good roster now. I stand by that. I stand by it. I stand by that 100%. Nobody tell me nothing. It's true. Let's be real, Liberty fans. I'm on the beat. I grew up watching the New York Liberty, but this is not a well-balanced roster right now. It's not. And until tonight, I have been of the opinion that Walt's system was playing to strengths that maybe his team doesn't really have. And this is a flash in the pan, but can it be long lasting? You know, Damian, to your point, I don't know. I don't know. And I think it's great that Amanda Zawi can shoot from the perimeter. But you know what else the Liberty don't do well? They don't rebound well. They don't box out. Oh, gosh. The New York Liberty have been terrible at boxing out since Bill Lambier was the coach. You know, there's certain things that you say are like, oh, that's like a Liberty thing. Unfortunately, a Liberty thing is not boxing out. I don't know why. I don't know why this is the case. Boxing out is quite fundamental and essential. You get your body in front of the other person. I used to love box out drills. Where you're on defense and you box out and you don't even touch the ball. Don't go for the ball. Don't lunge for the ball. Don't jump for the ball. Don't reach for the ball. Just box out and you let the ball hit the ground. If you have effectively boxed out, then there's no way the offense can get that ball, even if it bounces, because if they try, it's a foul. I love stuff like that. I'm not in practice. I don't know. Maybe they do that drill. Doesn't seem like it, but I'm just saying. So there are things that the Liberty needs to clean up. The reason that I always thought this was going to be a good matchup is because, and shout out to Jackie Powell, Chicago's not a great defensive team. They can run up the score, but they're not great defensively. So a team that's not great defensively gives New York an opportunity if they're hitting their shots, which until tonight they weren't. But I don't like Zawi and Stokes, and Walt says this all the time. I disagree with it. Those are his go-to three-point shooters. So who's rebounding offensively? Who's rebounding offensively? Two tallest players are your three-point shooters. Who's going, and if that rebound goes long or if it falls flat, you got your bigs on the arc shooting, maybe still following through, or maybe they follow their shot. Who's back? I mean, I don't know. These are just things that I think of. You're putting a lot of stock into shooting the three and making the three. And obviously that wasn't working for the New York Liberty. Another thing I don't like about it was more balanced today. But I'm a baseball person, huge baseball fan. But You know, like it had been sounding to me that Walt essentially was going into the clubhouse if he were a baseball manager. They call it a manager, not a coach, but a manager. You know, he's going into the clubhouse and he's saying, you know what? My team is a home run hitting team. I rather them swing and miss 40 times than get 5 singles. 5 singles? If you get 5 consistent singles, you know what that equals? A run. 1 run. Who would say that? Who would say that? Nobody. Oh, here comes Walt. He heard me talking about him.
Ayala?
Here we go. You know, it's like saying we're a home.
First, congratulations on
we're home run. Let me turn this down. It's a little distracting. It's like saying we're a home run hitting team, but you're batting less than 100. You're batting less than 100. No, we're a home run hitting team. Is it going to come? Yes, absolutely. But what happens in the meantime? You still got to score. You still got to score. And you know what? A 3-point shooting team, you know what that means? Is that they have a shooting touch. You know what shooters need to keep shooting the ball? Yes, but they need to shoot and make baskets. That's part of the shooting touch, that you make shots. Not to mention that if teams know that the Liberty are not going to drive, that they're not going to do back cuts, that they're not going to rebound, and that they're not making 3-pointers, that's the easiest defensive assignment ever. Easy defensive assignment. So it was a good win. Do I like it? Of course. Did it feel good? Do I think it'll be good for them moving forward? Yes. Does this mean they're a great team? No. No. More swag equals more excitement. Also, hello. Dang right. They have potential. I agree. They have potential, but they're not there yet. Here we go.
For the coming years, and we have to make this system
Can you
work
hear Walt?
the way that it's going to work in the future. And so I don't want them to stop shooting the 3.
Still wants them to shoot the 3.
And they came through. They shot the heck out of it. So
Walt still wants his team to shoot the 3. He's going to live and die by the 3. I disagree with it. I don't like it, especially when it's not working. It looks pretty freaking ugly, but that's his system. There's an article in The Athletic. I haven't read all of it, but that really talks about this trend of shooting the 3 ball. I hate it. I hate it. I also hate the DH. I also hate positionless basketball. So I'm just a grumpy sports fan because all these trends are ridiculous. The game is the game. You don't say all you want to do is hit home runs and then forget about the bunt when you're trying to win a playoff game. You don't say you only want 3-pointers and forget about easy baskets or driving to the line to get free throws. You don't say we're positionless and then wonder why there's no movement on offense because you don't have a floor general. These are some of the things, people. These are some of the things that drive me crazy. They drive me crazy. To quote Sarah Spain, one day if I snap, it'll be about that. All of the things that I just mentioned, which was a lot. Hold on. I'm going to try and get a question in. I want to know about rotation. We finally got to see some of the rotation. The only player that didn't see any time, who was on the injured list for this team, was Jordan Holmes. Everyone saw time. Megan Walker didn't see a bunch, but I thought it was great that Walt went to his bench. He's talking about how his players need to get time and that, young players, they need reps, but he's not playing. He didn't play Paris. He wasn't playing Jocelyn. So I like that he's doing that. So I'm going to try and get this question in. Let's see.
Lost that game multiple occasions down the stretch. We kept punching, we stayed in.
Resilience.
And we got a tough group.
Resilience is what he's talking about now. Let's see if I can get my question. Oh, Jackie. Let's see what Jackie is going to ask.
Hey, Walt, congratulations on the win. I want to know if you could take me through the performances of Kylie Shook and Jocelyn Willoughby, 2 rookies off the bench that made an impact tonight.
great
You know,
games.
Shook came in and got her butt kicked because
Kylie Shook,
Jazz
15
actually was the one who
minutes,
challenged her
8
before I
points.
even get to her. I saw Jazz run out
Jocelyn,
there,
17 minutes,
blah, blah,
14
how that shouldn't
points.
happen. And I thought she responded pretty well. I still think she's capable of much more than that. And she knows that. She knows that. We talked about it. She didn't rebound like she needs to. She hit a couple of late shot clock, shot fake, pull-up jumpers that were, I mean, you know, the difference in the game. She doesn't hit those shots, who knows what happens. So, obviously, Shook's 4 seconds in the field was big time. And I thought that her ability to play minutes down the stretch was
What I liked
so
about how
important.
Kylie played today, and Walt just talked about that, is that she took what the defense gave her. That's something you hear talked about a lot in basketball. But that, honestly, I don't think the Liberty have been doing. They want to take three-pointers. The defense, I guess, is willing to give them three-pointers and they're not knocking them down. But pump fake, drive to the hole, and then next time pump fake, you know, do a stutter step, step back, shoot a three, and then the next time just shoot the three. There has to be a variety. He keeps saying everyone's going to shoot the three. Everyone knows that in scout. How are you going to, though, make the rotation? I shouldn't say rotation, but the ball movement. How are you going to move the ball to make sure that you're effective? And I think that the ball has been sticking. You know, I hear Walt say that a lot. The ball's been stuck. The ball has been sticking. It's been stagnant. Those things, yes, it's a matter of confidence, but those are just things that you really have to be diligent in telling your team that they need to do, period.
Doug Feinberg.
All right, Doug's up next. Try and get my question in here. I want to ask about rotation. You saw everyone get into the game. That's huge. Again, everyone getting into the game, that's huge. I just want to make sure Doug doesn't answer my question because that'd be embarrassing. He's like, Erica, I just answered that question. I'll be like, I know, coach, but I'm live streaming and in post game. So if you could just like take it easy. I've never done this before. Live stream whilst in post game. In case you don't know, we're not like, here we go. They don't show our faces for post game. Every once in a while, we get to have our picture, like, and so coach can see us. But most of the time, we're just talking. It's kind of fun. That's one thing I like about this quarantine situation is that I can participate. I get to hear what all of the coaches throughout the league are saying. Just get a little link. We don't get that access. It's tough when you're in one location. You don't get the time. So, see how it goes. Let me know in the chat where y'all watching from. I recognize some names, but let me know. How did you like the game today? New York Liberty versus Chicago. I thought it was a good one.
She had 4 assists. She found open shooters. And we've been talking a lot, us, with you guys, about Nurse contributing when she's not hitting the shot. And she did.
Talking about Key Nurse.
She had 4 assists.
Key Nurse didn't have a lot of points, but coach is talking about how she was doing other things right. I think he's right on the hitting the nail on the head there.
It's a better look.
Let's see if I'm up next. Hey, Coach. I think it's Erica here up next. I wanted to ask you a little bit about rotation. You were able to get everyone into the game. I wondered how much of that was just feeling out how the game was going, or was that something that you had already established that was going to be a part of the game plan for tonight?
Yeah, another good question. It was premeditated. We talked about going into these last games. As a staff, we met and talked about the importance of, one, we're looking around the league, we're seeing these injuries happen left and right, and we wanted to kind of protect all of our players. And it doesn't make sense to run them into the ground and play the same players 30 minutes over and over and over again. It's just dangerous. So that was part of it. The other part of it is, like I keep talking about, the future, looking forward. Regardless regardless of outcome, regardless of the fact that they played great tonight off the bench, we were going to get them minutes. We were going to find them minutes. The intention was to find Megan more minutes. The problem was Jocelyn played so damn well, couldn't take off the court.
Surely did.
It wasn't by Megan's fault. That's what I told her at the end of the game. We didn't do anything wrong today. We just had other people really step up.
Interesting.
And that's all we could possibly ask for. But yeah, I told Jonathan going into the game, I didn't want him or ownership to be surprised because I really want those young players to get a chance. I wanted Paris to get a chance. They're working their butt off, guys. I mean, I wish you could see them behind the scenes. How hard that all of them work, and how body they are, and I'm so damn proud of them. Win or lose, you guys have heard me say it. Losses too.
It's true.
I'm really, really proud of you.
Aw, Coach.
Last question, Jeff Magliochetti.
All right, I got my question in. Sorry if that was distracting.
Hey, Coach, congratulations.
I just was like, I wasn't sure, if I'm being honest. I did not plan on such a close game. I thought I was like, I can miss this post game, but I wanted to get in there, and I'm glad that Walt talked about rotation. He said that it was premeditated, that he had planned to get all of his players in, and that in case you didn't catch it, he mentioned that Megan Walker, who didn't even get 3 minutes, he wanted to get her more time, but Jocelyn Willoughby was playing well. Again, Willoughby, 17 minutes, almost 17 and a half minutes, 14 points. And I love that. I love that. I was just ranting before I got my question in that, he talks about needing to get these players touches, and he talked about it when he answered my question just now. But, if you're losing by 15, 20 points, a game, and you still can't find minutes, that's tough. That's tough for players as far as confidence. So I'm glad that that was something that was planned. I hope that Jocelyn gets more time. I love her on defense. I really think. You want to talk about energy? Jocelyn Willoughby has energy. She's always talking, hands always active, feet always moving. That's like a coach's dream on defense. And so I'm glad to see that Jocelyn Willoughby got some time and that she seized it. In the pregame, I was watching Yes Network. They were talking about, Jocelyn Willoughby was a go-to person for her team. And it's been tough. It's been tough on a team that's struggling to get a win for her not to see minutes. I think that she took her opportunity. She made good on it. Another thing I absolutely love, Paris Key getting time. Absolutely love it. 17 and a half minutes, 17.25 minutes, 10 points. Like her energy. She's able to move the ball, get the defense out of place, and even if she's not attacking the rim, that opens up things for other people. All right, we got Amanda Zowie B coming up here. Wearing a nice Black Lives Matter shirt. I'm not gonna stay with you all here for this one. Just a really good game overall from New York. Feed off the energy, and hopefully the Liberty gets more dubs in the future. I think that there's potential. We saw that they took the Las Vegas Aces down to the wire. Heck yeah, Key stepped up. Loved Paris Key's game. But, Manuel, to go back to your point, the team has potential. The confidence, I hate using that word confidence because it's not that I don't think it's real, but I also think people don't necessarily, I think they use confidence to mean other things. But maybe it is a confidence. It's getting those reps. It's like, hey, I'm here. I'm established. And it's a sharp learning curve for this New York Liberty team. They can win more games than they've won to this point. I don't doubt that. Do I think that they're going to be jockeying for a top 5 position? No. No. If they played like this from game 1, could they jockey for a top 8 finish? It's possible. It's possible. We've seen so many injuries in the wobble. Obviously, the New York Liberty know that intimately, and they have Joyner Holmes sidelined right now. It's tough. It's tough. The consistency is key. The consistency is absolutely key. Maybe that comes with the confidence. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being nitpicky. It's quite possible. As you all know, I'm a little bit particular. I just don't like that word confidence. Consistency, yes, absolutely. The consistency has to be there. The energy has to be there. Again, Jocelyn Willoughby, like her energy. Amanda Zawi B, who's on with media right now, had amazing energy in this game. She was knocking them down, and she brought that energy to her team. That's what she's really good at. That's what Amanda is really good at. When she's at her best as a leader, she's doing that in her own game, and she's giving that energy to her own players. You know, Tina Charles, if Tina Charles was feeling it, she'd do her little, anyone know what I'm talking about? Come on, Liberty fans, little, that was her thing. You know what I'm saying? Tina Charles is gonna hype when Tina was feeling it, especially from perimeter. That's what she would do. Zowi's not that kind of player. You won't necessarily know when she's in the zone shooting unless you're looking at the box score. But when she's in the zone, what she does and the way she takes that energy that she's using offensively is when her teammate does something else, she's the first one to, yell, pick them up, give them a pat. That's Zawi at her best, and she was locked in. She was locked in from the perimeter, and she was giving so much love to her teammates. That's what makes Zawi be great. I give Zawi a lot of grief. I don't know if she knows this. Y'all don't tell on me. Don't tell on me. I don't know if she knows this, but it just drives me crazy that she doesn't have a stronger post game. I want to see her dominate on the perimeter, and I think that's her next level, because if she can bring that nice touch that she has from the outside with that energy and love and passion that she gives to her teammates, and then have some moxie, just shook the camera, shook the damn camera. She has some moxie on the block? What? Who's stopping Amanda Zawi B? Who's stopping that? Who's gonna stop that? I mean, maybe Brittany Gardner, but she's tall. Whatever. You see what I'm saying? I need the complete package from Zawi. I know that she can do it. And if she does that effectively on the block, that opens up more for herself and for her teammates from mid-range and from the perimeter. Come on, Zawi. Come on. Come on, Zawi. I want to see it. Let's go. Can y'all even hear me anymore? I don't know. Is this working? Hello? Okay, there we go. Whew. Okay. Zawi's almost done. I think I'm gonna go off. There's 2 more games. We've got Dallas. Who's Dallas playing tonight? Dallas is playing. Oh, Dallas and the Aces. Las Vegas is up 27-24 in the second quarter. Second quarter basically just started. And then we have the good one, Indiana versus Seattle. Now, there was a little bit of drama. Again, I talked about this on Locked On Women's Basketball. Marianne Stanley was like, I felt disrespected. And then Sue Bird was like, I think they forgot they were going to see me in the lunch line. And then ESPN was like, well, why didn't Indiana ask Seattle if Sue Bird was sitting because it was Indiana? And then Erica, me, I was like, why the hell did Indiana do that? Why would they do that? I just thought that was so silly. Anyway, and then Sue Bird was like, well, we'll see what happens on Tuesday. And then online, Natalie Achanwa was like, ooh, with a Drake gif. And that's my wrap up of the drama. Sue Bird is not playing tonight. LaChina Robinson's on that call. I'm very excited. That's on ESPN too. So let's all take our nap, get our snacks, and then we're going to watch Las Vegas Aces, Dallas Wings, Indiana Fever, Seattle Storm. And that's it. The New York Liberty are back in action Thursday, the 27th. Yeah, the 27th is Thursday. They're going to take on the Wings. That's actually the New York Liberty Unity Day. I've covered Unity Day since the very first one at Madison Square Garden. Amazing. I have a thread coming with those stories, so take a look at that. There's a Unity Day panel that Laysia Clarendon, they are going to be on as a member of the players, or a member of the current New York Liberty players on that Unity Day panel. Speaking of, Laysia Clarendon coming up right now. So check that out. But I'm going to get back to some New York Liberty action. Thanks for coming to this post game. I kind of like doing post game. It was a little bit much, maybe, also being in the post-game chat. So maybe I'll try to time it to where I either get all of my ranting done before, like that's really going to happen, I talk too much, or we do it after. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this. I'll answer a few more questions while Asia's still up. Let's see. If they can have multiple players in double digits, they will be fine in the future. But they have to do it consistently. Yes, consistent. I agree with you. That's the thing that would kill me. Tina Charles could have 20, 30 points regularly, but she'd be the only one scoring. If she was lucky, she'd have another teammate, second leading scorer on the team with 8, 10, 12 points. That's not enough. And that was more when it was Shavonte Zealous on the team. Shavonte can get you a solid 16. She could get you a solid 16 a night, plus whatever Tina Charles is giving you. But that was it. Then they lose Zealous. Tina Charles starts not being as efficient because she's getting all the double teams. Ugh, I could go on for days about that, but I'm going to move on. Okay, yes, absolutely right, consistently. I still think they need to trade some. Yes, the Liberty have not done a solid trade in quite some time. Totally agree with trade. I want to see them go buck wild in free agency. It has to happen. It's way overdue. It has to happen. That goes back to me thinking that this is not the most well-built roster. Even with Beck Allen, even with MJ and Hanju, I don't think this is there's more that the Liberty can do. I think that they're testing the waters, but I think that they can find players that fit into Walt's system better and or that blend better together. And I will not stop saying that they need a veteran, not just in years of service, but in minutes. A veteran that knows what to do. Laysia has not had to be that point guard for teams that she's played on before. And so she's now being asked to carry a very heavy load. And that's not what we've seen her do. She's doing it. And they're doing it. But need something else. I would say a veteran post player. I still like that idea, but the problem with Tina Charles is that if you're veteran, if your leader is on the post, that's not where you can facilitate an offense at least. So, but I agree. We need more by trade and free agency. And does the trade make good sense? Listen, there were some free agents that could have been amazing for this New York Liberty team. I would have liked to see them make, and maybe they did. I don't know. Gloria Johnson was a free agent. Courtney Williams. That doesn't necessarily solve the point guard problem. We saw Breon January go to Connecticut. You want to talk about a veteran that plays impeccable defense and knows how the F to get her team on board? Can we talk about what January is doing for Connecticut right now? Yes, please. Yes, please. Do you need a Skylar Diggins-Smith? Does it hurt? Absolutely not. Would I take a Breon January? Yes. 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 Multiple time over defensive all-team for the WNBA. Yes, give me some of that. Give me some of that, please. Okay, what else? Now the comments are coming in. I love this. I love this. Oh, you like the live check-in on the post-game presser. Okay, cool. That's cool. As long as it wasn't distracting. I know for some people, I do like a 1,000 things at a time. That's why they never get done particularly well. That's a whole nother story. All right, cool. We can do that. We can do that. Cool, cool, cool. Tight, tight, tight. I think the rookies can still form around Sabrina, but she needs better veterans around her. Absolutely. Agreed. Agreed with that 1,000%. Crystal ball prediction. When will the Liberty finally get to the promised land and be able to claim their first WNBA championship? Listen, if it didn't happen with Bill Lambier, Oof. If it didn't happen in the first few seasons of the Liberty, dang, they got to the final, what was it, 2 times in a row? Coming up against the juggernaut that is, or was, RIP, that was the Houston Comets. I went to those finals. I was there at Madison Square Garden. Shout out to the OGs. Anyway, I was actually rooting for the Comets. I'm a huge Cheryl Swoops fan. Anyway, that's a good question. I think Sabrina helps with a foundation. But here's the thing, goes back to what was in the comments. No WNBA team since the early years, and even then, not really. No WNBA team wins without veterans. That's how the league is. It's a short season. It's a grudge match the whole way. When we're playing a full 30+ games, can't do it without veterans. Can't do it. Can't do it. Can't be done. Can't be done. That's how this league is. Need veterans. Need veterans. So when they get serious in free agency, when they get serious about trades, when they get serious about making moves for presumably what will be some relatively good draft picks, and they're strategic about that, that's when they'll get serious about a championship. Oh, I thought they called my name. I was like, that's weird. I didn't raise my hand. Sorry, got distracted. Okay, let's see. Here we go. More questions. When they have multiple game plans, when will they have multiple game plans? Yeah, when the 3 ball isn't falling. That's what I'm saying. It fell tonight. And I'm glad to see that Walt's system will eventually work. It's not that I ever doubted that his system would eventually work, but you also have to have a plan when the system isn't working. It's not that shooting a 3 should not be an all or nothing. That's literally not how the game works. So that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Consistent shooter. Been saying if they can't get a consistent shooter and a strong big that can finish around the rim, it's over. Yes. 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 I've been writing about this for almost a year now. Everyone was on the Sabrina bandwagon, Sabrina to New York. Let me tell you, I'm taking off the glasses. I'm getting serious now. And let me tell you why I didn't like that. I didn't like that because I had no faith that the Liberty were going to do what they needed to do to get a team around her. Case in point, I had a feeling, I had more than a feeling. It was pretty much solidified that Tina Charles, her days were numbered with the team. I think she got a little bit more slack than she should have from the fan base in the last 2 seasons. I think she got a little bit more slack from the media about being inconsistent. Panel tomorrow at 5. Okay, because listen, when everyone in the league, including the fans in the building, know that the offense runs through Tina Charles and she's on the block, what do? You put all 5 freaking players on Tina Charles. And the fact that Tina Charles could still do her spin around step back and score 20+ games a night? Are you kidding me? Want to talk about Tina Charles like she's chump. No, sir. No, sir. Anyway, that's a rant. But you need, I had no faith that the Liberty was going to do what they needed to do, and they haven't really, to get some solid posts and to get a strong, solid point guard. Leisha, they have been impressing me, not going to lie. Didn't expect that from Lay. Love to see it. Not sure how long it's going to last. Need more. Lay held it down in the wobble. Bring somebody else in for next season to work with Leisha, to work with Sabrina. Needs to happen, or else we're not serious. Let's be real. Needs to happen. Needs to happen, or else we're not serious. Does anyone want Sacramento and Houston back? This gal, hello. I would love to see both of those franchises back. I would love to see both of them back. Yes to all of the comments. I'm feeling this. Man. I was going to say Nancy. Oh God, now you're talking about the Knicks. I don't know much about them. I stopped in the 90s. I was a Mets fan and a Knicks fan at the same time. I was like, I can only take so much from orange and blue. I can only take so much. I can only take so much. So, all right. Post game with the Liberty is over. Good game. Solid win. Need more of it. Still lots of questions about this franchise, not only for this wobble season, but in the long term. And some of those we're just not going to get answers to, including this. We have 7 rookies, including Sabrina, on this roster. And there's Han, Beck Allen, MJ, and potentially Nayo Rinka-Kakunwe that are coming back. So who's leaving? Who's leaving? What's this roster going to look like? And even if it's a straight swap, even if it's a straight swap, which I do not condone, by the way, that's not enough. That's not enough. Got to get serious, New York Liberty. I want to see free agent madness. I want to see trades on trades on trades. I want to see get wild for the first season in Barclays. It has to get wild. It has to get wild. Speaking of Sabrina, got a really, I don't even know. We got an update on her. I asked Walt about her in a post game, I guess from last week. I reached out to the Liberty and didn't hear back. And then we get a press release that she doesn't need surgery. So that's a good thing. But there's no timeline. I'm not thinking she's coming back this season. I think it's highly unlikely, especially because we're not expecting. I don't know if if the Liberty are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. I don't do fast math like that. Someone else let me know, but I'm thinking it's probably a no. So with that said, there's no playoff run. I don't think Sabrina makes it back. Why they're not saying that? Maybe she's trying, but we don't know. We don't know what the rehab is. We don't know where she is. It's just kind of this mystery right now. So we'll see. Ooh, someone said, I want Brittany Boyd back. This is what I'll say about Brittany Boyd. I don't think she was given a fair shake, but I also think it was time to move on from Brittany Boyd. Tough facts. You know who I want back, or who I think could have been potentially really good for this team? Rashonda Gray. I think Nayo Rinka-Kakunwe could have been good for this team. You know why? They're grinding. They grind hard, especially on the block. Hello. They're not tall. They're not like the tallest post players, but they work hard. They know how to box out. They know how to agitate the offense. They know how to agitate the opponent. And I think that would have been really great for this team. So Brittany Boyd, I think it was time. It was kind of like in a different way, but a Tina Charles situation that kind of had to end. So we'll see. I don't think she'll be back. Someone said maybe she'll rest up and come back. If you were talking about Brittany Boyd, I don't know. Or are you talking about Sabrina? Sabrina, rest up, come back next year. That makes sense. It makes sense for her not to come back. So I don't know why they just won't say that she's not coming back. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Leja and Zowie. I don't know. Oh, is that too? I think like sometimes the chat and where I am in the, I don't know, it's weird. Like there's a lag or something. So Leja and Zowie in one of these. Is that with my swap? Ooh, could be. I don't know. Zowie, every time I'm ready to kind of say it might be time to move on from Zowie, then she has a game like tonight. So I have nothing against Zowie. I love Zowie for this league. I love what she talks about social justice. Anyone who knows me knows I'm down with the social justice. But I think there are better pieces out there for what the Liberty is trying to do sometimes. Same thing with Zowie. I don't think that she was given time to under Bill or under Katie. She's being given time under Walt, which is why I'm hesitant to say, all right, let's get rid of it. Because this is the type of Zowie that she has potential to be, and she hasn't been given minutes. She hasn't been given minutes, and I don't think for any good reason personally. But so I don't know. I'm not quite ready to say it might be time to move on from Zoe. I think she's got to get more time. She got injured. She had some time. She got injured, and then there was Eurobasket last year. So, that's fair. That's fair. I do think Leja has some inconsistencies. Ooh, she's a little slow. What is the word that I want to use? She's a little not rigid. She's not very smooth. I was trying not to say like a negative, like a no word. She's not very smooth on the basket. And I don't know. It's very kind of. It's not smooth. I feel like there's other words that are coming into my head, but I feel like they sound a little negative. And I don't want to be necessarily negative. I just don't think she's very smooth. Leja has talked about working on pronouns with Leja, who says that they are open to all of the pronouns, but I just have to get more comfortable interchanging them, just FYI. Yeah, Leja has talked about not being a great finisher. I also though think, and I think I tweeted this tonight, like Leja's got to stay on her feet, because she when she gets to the basket, like anything that should be a powerful drive to the hole, she kind of just stops. And then if she gets contact, it looks like she just is falling over. Now, not all of the time is she wrong that there was contact, but because her body stopped moving in like a weird way, I don't think she's going to get that call. I don't know if that's making any sense. It's just very choppy. She's got a very choppy, she's not fluid. And it throws me off. It throws me off. And my gut is telling me that officials are not going to give her calls if she stops moving. She does a lot of pump fakes. If Leja does a lot of pump fakes, which is fine. But there's something like off about her motion that makes it, again, even like it's like if this, something is standing still and straight up, and then you tap it a little, and it's just like it goes flying. It's a little bit, I don't know, it's a little weird. Does that make any sense? I feel like, I don't know. It's just, it's an adjustment for me. I think Leja needs to stay on her feet, learn how to absorb contact, and be a little bit more fluid with her motions to the basket. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know. What do you think? So, okay, who do I think New York should trade for? That's hard to say. And here's another thing. I don't think New York has done itself any favors over the last few years by not playing Amanda Zahui, by not playing Rebecca Allen, by wearing out Tina Charles, because trades are, I think if I were a general manager, I would not trade for a New York Liberty player as of right now. I don't think I would trade for a New York Liberty player. And that goes back to, it's nothing against Walt. That goes back to even Bill. I just would not trade for a Liberty player. I would trade for picks. Because the Liberty should have some decent picks. But I don't know that right now, especially in this season, that I would necessarily be trading for a player unless there's a coaching staff that really knows the player that's on the roster right now and believes that they can build them up and into their system. But I don't know that a trade, I can't see a trade, if I'm being honest, right now happening. I don't see one that makes sense right now, unless the moves are to trade with another team, maybe like a 3 or 4 team trade makes sense, where there's picks involved. That makes sense to me, because I don't know that there are players right now that see New York as a go-to destination, not from a city. I mean, New York City is fabulous. But as a team, as a franchise, I don't think they see that yet. So I think trades are going to be a little bit difficult unless there's picks and other teams involved. So that's what I think. Leisure. Trade Leisure? I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. Yes, the Liberty do have cap space. Last I checked, especially with bringing in all of the rookies that they did from training camp. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, everyone, I'm going to head over to the Dallas game in a little bit. I'm like sweating. I'm so shiny. So shiny. All these lights are very strong. Yeah, Malaysia. I want to see what that looks like long term. I've not been a huge fan of Malaysia to New York because I don't really see how that plays into what I think New York needs. So, but I will say Malaysia in New York for this season. Well, you know, let's just imagine if Malaysia wasn't there for this season. What does that look like? So, in that sense. But over time, I don't know if that's a long-term relationship. I don't know if it's a long-term relationship. So we'll see, though. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to head out for now. Thank you all for joining me for postgame. Let's try this again postgame. Probably not for one of their 10 o'clock games because I will probably be asleep, but maybe for the 7 or 8 p.m. game again. So New York Liberty play the Dallas Wings on Thursday. Again, that's the Unity Day game. Check me out on social media, elinz08, for more info on that. And have a good night. Good win for New York Liberty. Good game by Chicago. Really came down to the wire. But as I had suspected, these two teams going, or expected, these two teams going head to head was a lot of fun to watch the second time around. First time, not so much, but the second time did not disappoint. All right, we're headed over to Dallas and Las Vegas. Let me check the score. It's halftime. Whoop, Aces starting to get some separation. 52-43 in favor of the Aces. Dallas is an interesting team too. Brian Agler is going to have to figure some things out. But next week, I'll let you know what we're going to do for Gotta Get Up for next week. All right, everyone. Until next time, Erica Ayala out. Bye.